And actually, such an accomplished car. I think the most accomplished, if not the most accomplished of its time. So I can't wait. Let's get this old carpet off. I'm not going to try and start it. Nothing too big, not going to be giving it any VTEC. So it's been a while. I wanted to do a video about this particular car because I'm about to get it out the shed for the first time in probably 5 years, and I absolutely love this thing. Super excited about seeing the car, but equally very nervous in fact, because I just don't know what state it's going to be in. Right, so I've got to go back to the part 2 of the intro here because my battery died on the old GoPro. But yeah, so I was bigging up the VTI. What a car! The EG VTI. Oh my god, such an accomplished car. I don't know, when you compare it to the 205 GTIs and that sort of stuff, what was all the hype about? Because the Civic, oh my god, sporting the legendary B16 VTEC, it was, I think the UK model was nearly 160 brake horsepower from a 1.6 that was super reliable. Now my dad was a car dealer, and I remember him saying, I said to him, why didn't you have these things back in the day? And basically some of the feedback I got is that they were terrified of them, in the sense that they thought something with 160 brake horsepower and a 8,000 RPM rev limit, actually a bit higher than that, surely it's just going to blow up. Of course, we all know never happened, but that scared people back then. They thought, how can something with such high output, revving so high, be so reliable? But they were. What an amazing thing. But anyway, just going to go check it out in the shed. So we've got this MX-5 here, which has been stood for a long time. Got my little 106 GTI in there. That's been stood for a long time. So I'm going to put a battery on this MX-5, see if it will go. And then there it is, the EG. If I just give you a little sneak peek. Oh my god, I love this thing so much. There it is, completely original. So fingers crossed it's not too bad. Super excited to get it out. Ice cream van, and there's a thing called a Metropolitan in next to it. But see if the MX-5 will go, move that, get it out. It's a nice day, and it's a nice drying day, which is why I don't want to get it out in the wet. So the whole point is to give it a fresh coat of oil, see what it's like, and go from there really. But oh my god, these things can deteriorate badly down here in Cornwall, so I'm really hoping it's not too bad. Just been giving the Mark 1 Cabriolet Golf there a bit of the old rust treatment. That's pretty good. It's never been welded, that Mark 1, and want to try and keep it that way. So that's having a bit of a oil up. I've just oiled it, which is why I'm so hanging before that goes back in the shed. So right, put a battery in the MX-5, get that moved, and then see if the Civic will go. So cool. Can't wait. Let's get this old carpet off. Right, this is a bit of a weird shot. So we're actually inside, put a battery on it, had to crawl in through the window, and now I'm going to see what happens. Lights are on. Wow. So she's running. God, these things are good. Stale fuel. Hasn't been run in 6 years. ABS lights on, battery lights on, but does it matter? No. See, this has even got its original stereo. Oh my god, I just love this thing. Right, I'm going to actually attempt to drive it. So see if the clutch is free. Crazy. Yeah, clutch is free. It's in gear. Brakes definitely stuck on. Brakes are no longer off, they're no longer stuck rather. So just slowly cruising out in between these two posts that are stopping the shed from falling down. Okay, I think I'm just going to get out. So it's running, it started straight away. Exhaust is blowing, got a couple lights on the dash, but 6 years in a damp shed. And she started straight away. So I'm going to drive it out the shed now. And get a good look at it. See what it's like. Amazing. Wow. Like, the Jap stuff is just another level, especially Honda. Reliability, just unbelievable. Sat in the shed 6 years, put a battery on it, and it just goes. Stale fuel, doesn't matter, because it's Honda. Anyway, I'm very excited. Get it out in the open air, and just see what it's like. So I'm going to get it out now, and we'll go again. So here it is, Civic. She's out of the shed, seeing light again for the first time in about 6 years. And absolutely love it. It's great to have it back out of the shed. Love it seeing it in all of its dust and whatever, because it just looks honest. But it's time to give it a clean up, get all the dust off it, see what it's like. Hopefully it's not too bad. It's straight, you know, but it's definitely got a few more rust blemishes on it than when it went in the shed. But I think overall it's actually looking alright. The interior is looking okay too, a bit mouldy, but I'll just give you a quick look inside. Original seats. Bit of mould. It's even got its original Panasonic cassette player. I don't think there'll be many VTIs with that. Split tailgate on it. Could open that up, see what that's looking like. I love the split tailgate on these. There you go. Love it, absolutely love it. They never had the look of these to the untrained eye, could just look like your granny's little Honda runaround, but it was far from it, and I think that's one of the reasons I love it so much. Just subtle detailing on it. But yeah, just going to try and clean the brakes up a little bit, and it's just good to get it moving. But no VTEC, because I'm a bit worried that the cam belt, having been sat for so long, might be a bit perished. So I don't want it breaking. Need to preserve that B16. Oh, it's so good to be in it though. Love it. Should we see if we can whip round a little one-handed handbrake turn? Yeah, the handbrake's not doing much. The battery light's on, that's because the fan belt actually snapped. So it goes to show I do have cause for concern with perishing belts. So here it is, the little VTI, all cleaned up. I actually think it's looking really good. So I'm just going to kind of now go back over everything and recap the whole story of my little Civic VTI. So rewind a couple of weeks. It'd been in the shed for 5 or so years. I was pretty worried about how it was gonna be, how it stood up to all the weathers and the battering in our crap leaking shed over the last 5 years. Got it out, and actually, thankfully, it's a lot better than what I thought. It's still basically sound. So that's the good news. Now, going right back to the beginning, to where the love of these Hondas began, is probably back to when I was like 16, 17, I used to read through the magazines and look at all the stats of all the different cars, and it was just something about these Hondas, seeing them around, hearing about the VTEC and the B16, how good it was. So anyway, I ended up with an EK4 when I was about 20. Ended up with an EK4. I actually did a tour around Europe in it, did about 2,000 miles in it, including going on the Autobahn and giving it the big one. I think I got it up to, it was showing just shy of 150 on the speedo on the Autobahn. And that's where the love of them began. I always wanted an EG VTI. I saw this one, fell in love with it, ended up getting it a few years later off the original owner, who had it from new. It's done nearly 200,000 miles because the previous owner used to commute from Cornwall up to Bournemouth for his business, and so it's done a lot of high miles. Testament to Honda, it drives like a 50,000 mile car. And even more of a testament, I put this car on the rolling road. Now, the UK spec VTI is meant to be around just shy of 160 brake horse, 158, something like that. And we did 3 runs, and it averaged out at 170 brake horse, and it sounded absolutely insane on the dyno. And I think the guy that put it on the dyno was pretty surprised as well at what it was putting out and how high it was revving. So absolute testament to Honda, nearly 200,000 miles and actually more brake horse than went off the factory, and this car is completely standard. I haven't done anything to it, and the lovely elderly chap that had it before me, I know he certainly didn't do anything to it either. I've got every piece of paper for this car, every bit of work that's ever been carried out. This is another testament. It's never had anything made to go wrong with it, 200,000 miles. All just wear and tear items, you know, tyres, wipers, brakes, cam belt, that sort of stuff. Nothing other than general wear and tear items has ever gone wrong with this car in 200,000 miles, and I'm pretty confident that's true. They're the sort of car that if you know, you know, and if you're into your Hondas, you'll most likely love these or have an appreciation for these. But like back in the day, they weren't like everything. The sort of go-to yardstick was always like the 205 GTI and you know, the British or French or Italian hot hatches. The Civics were like I don't know, a bit of sort of in the background, if you like. But they shouldn't have been, because they're so good. I think of that generation, I think they were certainly one of the best, if not, I mean, I'm biased, but I think they were the best. Nothing else came close. Think about the power output. Nearly 160 brake horse out of a naturally aspirated 1.6. None of the others were getting close to that unless they had a turbo strapped on or whatever. And the character out of these VTECs is so good. Like when they hit no torque, but when you hit that VTEC, then just on song, right up to that like 8,000 plus RPM limiter. I think they're about 8.2, 8.3 on these, and like higher on some of the JDM specs. But what a character thing. Great chassis as well, such good chassis, brilliant handling thing. And if you look at how competitive some of the like K-swapped EGs are now on track, they're seriously quick still. So that's why I love them so much, and just so reliable as well. Typical Honda reliability, just like nothing matches it in reliability. They're just second to none in reliability. So just all round well accomplished car, brilliant thing. They just didn't have that like I guess the sort of hot hatch detailing and garishness that some of the hot hatches at the time had. You know, the big GTI slapped over the side and the red seat belts and spoilers and all that sort of stuff. They just looked a lot more subtle, which is funny really, because Honda have gone to like another extreme now, where like the latest Type R is as garish a hot hatch as you can get. You know, we all know the big spoiler on them, and just, yeah, seriously garish. So they've gone one extreme to the other in 20-30 years. One other fun fact about this: when I had it on the road, I took it to my local run what you run quarter mile. I think I did about 5 or 6 runs that day, and I raced a BMW 123D that had been remapped. I beat that, or you know, the good old Civic beat that. I raced a 205 GTI 6, so that was a 205 GTI with a 306 GTI 6 engine. Beat that, and I also beat an EP3 Type R on the day, and I did 2 runs against the EP3 because I think the guy with the EP3 was pretty disappointed that the old Civic beat the EP3, and I beat him on the second one as well. So I don't know, make of that what you will, but on the day when it came down to it, me and the old B16 powered EG won on the day. So whatever, it was great fun though. So I think basically that is the story of it. The plan is just to keep on top of it to make sure it doesn't fall into more of disrepair. So I'm going to get it up on the ramp at some point, get off any shaly rust, give it another underseal, oil in around the door shafts and boot shaft, in around the engine bay, make sure all those sort of key areas, and I'll probably anchor wax the body as well to make sure it doesn't go downhill. That's just to tide it over until a point where I've got the time where it just feels right to get it back on the road, because I do want it back on the road at some point. But yeah, that's the story of the Civic. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that one little story, and look forward to doing another at some point soon. So yeah, cheers.